current thinking with serial versus parallel communication is that although your logic might think is not parallel faster than serial, because after all, in parallel communication you have multiple copper traces all transmitting data at the same time. With serial communication, it's like soldiers marching in single file. Actually, you can look at serial versus parallel very much link that. Think of the old Revolutionary War with soldiers who would march in horizontal rows per unit time. You're going to have, however, many soldiers are in a row moving. With parallel, it's like a row, a single file of soldiers, one in front of the other. Well, to deal with that, the reason why serial is actually faster than parallel is timing. Look at this diagram you see up above. It shows a comparison between PCI and PCI Express, and down below you see a mess of Asian traces. On the old conventional PCI bus, you have the multiple rows of traces, but they are all fighting on the same main road, so to speak, to get across the bus. So there's an arbitration, and also as you start to ramp up the clock speed, you have to make sure that each of those PCI devices is sending data across all of its traces in parallel and synchronized. So you wind up with so much overhead that parallel communication is actually pretty slow. PCI Express is a serial bus where each expansion card has its own dedicated pathway across the motherboard, and there's a switch on the motherboard, oftentimes integrated in the processor. Like I said, that takes care of arbitration among multiple PCI Express devices. So the PCI Express uses the concept of the full duplex or bidirectional lane. By one link is just a single lane that can send and receive on one trace or channel at a time. Once you start getting up into by 2, by 12, by 16, by 12, for instance, it's actually 12 separated serial lanes. So I hope instantly you can see what we're talking about, a very fast bus indeed.